Hello and welcome to NerdVsWorld, episode 60, Nerd in 60 Seconds. I'm Brendan.
I'm Splindles.
And on today's show, we will have some film reviews from Creed, The Big Short, and Spotlight. Reaction to not Peter Capaldi, Stephen Moffat leaving Doctor Who, although Peter Capaldi's meant to be going as well. And initial reactions to the new series of The X-Files and Lucifer.
X-Files, yeah, Lucifer and
Agent Carter.
Agent Carter as well, yeah. Cool. Where do you want to begin then, sir?
Should we start with the films again?
Okay, yeah, happy with that.
Okay, I've been watching a lot of films recently. Last year I made a list of everything that I saw, and I was going to send it to people, but it was just really short. I was disappointed with the number of films I'd watched, so I'm making a concerted effort to watch more films this year. And part of that's been obviously the Oscar watch. So I went to see Creed, The Big Short, and Spotlight.
All of which are Best Picture nominees, aren't they? I think Creed is it?
I don't think Creed is. I think that got missed out. Spotlight is, I think, and I think The Big Short is.
Yeah, I think both of them are.
Cool. So, let's start with my favourite of the three, which was Creed. I loved the Rocky films. I thought the Rocky films were great, and I know you couldn't quite believe my status after it, but Sylvester Stallone is well worth the nomination.
Okay, well, to be fair, I'll have to take your opinion on it, because I doubt I'm ever going to watch it. I've never seen any of the original Rocky films. I don't intend to start now.
It is a fantastic trip down nostalgia lane for Rocky fans. And in much the same way that having Harrison Ford come back as Han Solo 30 years after he was last in the role, so it made sense to have Stallone reprise his role in Creed. And it's like when he's talking to Michael B. Jordan about the things his character's going to have to go through in the boxing world, it's like Sylvester Stallone is talking to the actor, not the character,
right,
about what he's going to go through in
life
the
as
film,
an actor.
yeah, and and the filming of these sorts of movies.
Okay.
And there's real emotion there. He doesn't slur his words quite as much as he's been sort of pastiched for in the past, I guess. You just assume it of Sylvester Stallone that he'll just mumble his way through it. He's not. He's clear and he is engaging. And he just brings this wonderful soul to this movie. I was amazed, frankly, at how much his performance affected me.
Okay.
Obviously, we know I'm quite an emotional person.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, there was one scene in particular when he's been diagnosed with a cancer, the same cancer that took his wife, and he's just yeah, no, don't worry, I'm ready for this. I don't need treatment. I've made my peace. And then when Creed finds out about it and they fight about it, it's a really moving scene.
Okay.
And I was surprised and impressed, and I don't think it's an Oscar-winning film, but I thought it was a better story than a lot of films that I've seen recently.
Okay.
And of course they've got great fight choreography. The story is pretty straightforward. It's just Michael B. Jordan as Creed fighting underground fights, then makes the step up to the big time. It's nice to see Goodison Park get mentioned, and I'm watching the film and remembering the match of the day in the Football Focus episodes when they said that Stallone was at Everton. It's just his rite of passage, him finding out who he is and dealing with the stuff dealing with his father being dead, and never really being there for him, dealing with that sort of issue, the anger stuff. Yeah, and it's just all wrapped up nicely.
Okay.
Worth the watch, just for the nods and the references to Rocky. There's a few Easter eggs in there which are really nice touches, and yeah, you cheer. And
it's a feel good one.
Yeah,
is
it's a feel good movie that will tug at the memories and make you feel good.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm still not going to watch it though.
Fair enough.
Sorry, dude.
I would get it on DVD when it comes out. I think that's probably that's like a fairly good barometer of how much I like to film.
Okay. Yeah, if you actually buy
it. If I go out and buy it on DVD, then yeah. Next, The Big Short.
Mm-hmm.
So The Big Short is the first of two films I saw based on actual events, and this is all about the housing crash of 2008.
Yep.
So, entertaining stuff.
Rip-roaring plot lines.
Straight off the bat, It's shot in quite an unusual way, one that I wasn't really expecting, but it breaks the fourth wall quite a lot. Ryan Gosling's character will on occasion just turn straight to the camera and talk directly to the audience, breaking that barrier. There are a number of cameos from people who are literally introduced. So it's like, and here's so-and-so to explain why subprime mortgages were shit, and it'll just cut to this person just like talking about subprime mortgages and why they were rubbish, like as a complete aside from the film.
Okay. What is that, like archive footage, or is it people?
No, it's celebrities.
Oh, right, okay.
So the one example is Margot Robbie is in it.
Oh, right.
So and here's Margot Robbie in a bathtub. And it just cuts to Margot Robbie in a bathtub explaining one particular element of the financial crisis of why everything fell down.
Okay.
I'm not sure why Christian Bale's getting plaudits. I think his performance was good, but the best was Steve Carell.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's up for nomination, but I thought he was in for Best Supporting Actor, which makes no sense because he pretty much carries the film. And he was great. But it's a tricky subject to handle, and I was expecting it to be like Wolf of Wall Street, but without the charisma and the class and the spangle. It's an entirely different film. The trailers really haven't given very much of it away, but it covers, in a surprising amount of detail, exactly what happened with the financial markets and what went wrong. I'm very sure there's a bit of subjective bias in there as well.
More than likely, because they've got a point to make after all.
Yeah, they are definitely trying to hammer it home. But none of the characters are particularly likeable. They're all deeply flawed.
Another one of those.
Yeah. Less so than like Hateful Eight. Hateful Eight was like they were all complete pricks.
Mm.
But in this one, at least Steve Carell's character is fed up with the banking system and trying to do the right thing. But in the end, they are cashing in on a predicted crash, which means they are still cashing in on the poverty and ruin of everybody who was investing in these really bad mortgages.
Right.
And I think Carell makes the point well towards the end of the movie. It's funny when it needs to be. It's serious when it needs to be. Yeah. But overall, it didn't really leave any lasting impression for me.
It sounds very much like just typical Oscar fodder.
Yeah.
It's like a film that has been created to win Oscars.
The whole true story element of it, for sure.
Mm.
The thing that stuck with me, if anything, was the breaking the fourth wall and the fact that it's very aware of itself as a movie.
Right.
It's aware of what it's trying to say and what it's trying to do. But yeah, maybe worth a watch if it's one that's piqued your interest, but I'm not sure why it's in the running.
Okay, fair enough. And then, on a lighter note...
Oh, yeah. On a lighter note, Spotlight. So you can tell it's Oscar season, because they're rolling out these sort of films. Now, I thought it was a good film.
Okay.
I think some of the exposition stuff is a little too blatant. For a drama, there wasn't really much drama to it. Everything was explained and just laid out very plainly. They're clearly trying to strike a balance between being a film that's meant to engage and involve and also tackle the subject of cover-up of systemic child abuse by the Catholic Church in Boston. So, not an easy balance to go with, and I think they go too far towards being reverential and respectful of the subject matter and not trying to milk it. But it's a drama. There should be more drama to it. It was a little boring for some people. I mean, people I went to see it with. I went to see it with a group of friends, and I've been told if I use the quote, I have to say that I was quoting somebody else. I'm not going to mention her name, but her quote was, "It was a drama. There should be more dramatization to it. Fuck's sake, where were the guns and hookers?"
Okay.
So, like, if you're coming away from a film about this sort of subject matter and you're thinking that sort of thing, which I completely agree with, it's not really done enough. But then I think it's not meant to, and I think it's one of those films that will stick with you. But you'll just have to work out for yourself whether that's because you liked it, or you got it, or because you were just moved by the treatment of the subject matter.
Right.
In terms of it being up for an Oscar, I don't get it. Again, I'm not sure.
There seems to be a lot of this in this year's Oscars.
Well, it was last year as well. Last year I saw them all, and of the lot, I preferred Whiplash. Theory of Everything and The Imitation Game just felt like pandering, and Birdman just felt a little too obscure. This time out, I'm feeling like, again, it's pandering. There weren't really that many breakout performances in this movie. Mark Ruffalo gets one moment where he gets really angry and he starts getting passionate about something. He gets into it and you're thinking, yes, Mark, go for it. Fuck yes, lad. But then the rest of it is just like so painfully slow.
Right.
And that's it in a nutshell.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's it. I think there is a lot of it. I finally got around to watching Mad Max.
Oh, that's good.
It was interesting. I can't say I'm a massive fan of it. It's, a car chase, basically.
Oh, yeah. For 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of car chase at the best of times. But it was interesting enough. I liked some of the performances in it. I thought Nicholas Hoult was really good in it.
Yeah. Yeah, he was getting a lot of praise after that role.
Yeah, I thought he was really good. But yeah, again, I don't see why it's included as a best picture, because it wasn't earth-shattering.
I got a message on Facebook from someone listening to the podcast when we were talking about that last time, and they were like, "It's because of that guitar."
Well, yeah, that is pretty awesome.
Guitar. I'm like, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah,
that's
that was probably. It took me until about halfway through the film to actually click and go, the soundtrack's being played by the guy on the front of the thing. It's like, that's pretty awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I did like that. Having your own incidental music. I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, there's going to be film music students out there just going nuts for the whole blended diegesis of it all.
Yeah.
So, that's pretty cool. But yeah, that's in the mix as well. But back to Spotlight. If it's the sort of story that you want to see told, it's told very well for what it is. I think it suffers with pacing, and I didn't like the way they spoon-fed everything to me.
Right.
I watched it, and I got to the end of it, and I was just like, well, that was a good movie, but why did you tell me everything? Why was there no point in that film where I was like, oh, God, who's the douchebag? Who's covering something up? And then figure it out. It's just like, no, it was this person at this date. It's just like, oh, really?
Okay. So, not a lot of
Not a lot.
work for your brain to be doing while you're watching it.
Yeah, which I suppose in a good way that's kind of good, because it leaves you then to just quietly process the horrible subject matter.
Mm.
I mean those elements are handled well and sympathetically, and there's just enough about it to make it harrowing without it being too in your face.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Again, I might possibly watch The Big Short, but that's pretty much it, I think, out of those three.
The Big Short has its moments of being hilariously funny, as it can be with, again, that subject matter. You know, everybody losing their jobs and shit.
Fair enough.
Oscar bait.
Cool.
Something more cheerful now, please.
Okay, well, as we've both seen it then, Educator.
Oh, I'm so glad she's back.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So that, I'm jumping ahead of myself. Do you think it's connected to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
I think it is, yeah.
I think those are more the portal stones.
Yeah, I think so. It makes sense that they're tying it together.
Yeah. I'm loving that it's out in LA. I'm loving the whole film noir of it all. I'm loving Jarvis and his fucking flamingo. And Mrs. Jarvis.
Yes, Mrs. Jarvis is pretty kick-ass. I do like that. So yeah, I'm loving Jarvis doing the combat training. That's probably one of my favourite scenes in it so far.
Oh, the judo throwing on the mat. Yeah.
I am loving that a lot. He seems to have kind of grown into his character a bit this season.
Absolutely. He's just really embraced that role. Sort of, it's almost slapstick.
Yes.
But you do feel like push comes to shove, he could handle himself quite well.
Yeah. And I like that Stark's being a bit more of the kind of mad scientist-y this season, rather than just being a plot device.
Yeah. And he's also been the playboy as well.
Yes. So, yeah, it's been kind of cool.
I loved his car.
Yeah. yeah. Because, yeah, there was the episode where they go into the gentleman's club and he takes them all in there. That was a nice scene. But, yeah, so it looks like, as we were talking about earlier, that they're potentially crossing things over a bit with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and...
Yeah, so the zero matter, which seems to be the thing behind most of what's going wrong in the first two episodes, definitely seems to be linked somehow to the monolith from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So, yeah, I'm hoping we kind of see more Hydra this time than we did last time, and more of them plotting about that planet. Yeah,
now, I mean, one thing I was thinking, and this was just something that struck me as I was watching it, is the parallels between the kind of the woman who got infected by the dark matter stuff. Thinking of the parallels between her, the Hellfire Club, and Emma Frost, it seems like a very, very close kind of retelling of that chunk of the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, which would be treading dangerous territory for them because they don't have the rights for that.
But that's why they're not quite... She doesn't turn into Diamond. She's got all the ice and stuff that she's doing. And she's part of this underground club that nobody really talks about that isn't quite the Hellfire Club, but I can kind of see it might be.
Unless this is their Inhumans version of a Hellfire Club.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because obviously Hellfire Club has been picked up by Fox for a TV series.
Yep.
So Marvel would be treading on very thin ice if they tried to use the properties they've already sold to Fox. But as we've seen already with them over the last couple of years, they have no qualms in retelling X-Files stories as Inhuman stories. That's a good spot.
Yeah.
I hadn't spotted that.
Yeah, so I was mulling that one over as I was watching the episode. I thought I'd see what your thoughts were on it.
Yeah.
Could be interesting. It's something we'll keep an eye on, because I think the similarities were just a bit too striking for me to discount them.
Yeah, it completely passed me by. I wasn't even considering that because of the whole licensing thing. But
So it'd be interesting to see if they do progress with that.
But of course, that would mean then that we'd have Inhumans that predate Inhumans we know about from season 2 Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes. But technically, there are anyway, because there's a community of them, and they've been there a while. So.
Yeah, it does. And that tie-in, the tie-in with the Zero Matter is nice. The Inhuman tie-in would be kind of cool too, if it starts bringing stuff out in the second half of season 3 that links more directly to Civil War. Because we're still not entirely sure how Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to cross over with this film.
No. And I mean, I'm not sure how closely it is now, because the cinematic and the TV universes, much as they are existing in the same space, are not particularly having any kind of real crossovers.
No.
And I'm not sure there's any plans to do so.
Infinity War.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Are they planning on bringing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff back in there?
Yeah.
Because there's the interesting thing to happen that we haven't seen yet, which is about the Avengers finding out that Coulson's still alive.
Yeah.
It's never been mentioned. And whether it's something they're going to directly address or just something they're going to sweep under the carpet, I don't know.
I would imagine sweep under the carpet, or if they address it, they'll address it quite glibly. It'd be one of those sort of, oh,
I thought you were dead.
Yeah.
Snake Plissken type of thing.
Yeah. Cool. So, yeah, I know we're only 2 episodes into it, but where do you see it going?
Well, I think it's going to start doing more with this club. Cool. Okay, and I guess I'll quickly give my thoughts on the new X-Files.
I haven't got around to that yet, so yeah, please do.
I haven't finished watching the first episode yet. I'm about 10 minutes from the end of it, but I'm really enjoying it. It feels like, like an old jacket that you haven't worn for ages that you put back on and go, yeah, that's really nice. It kind of starts out with a bit of a montage and a talk over by Mulder, which kind of talks you through what's happened.
Okay, that's cool.
So kind of from his whole Samantha got taken by aliens and this is what started him off, and then he worked for the X-Files, then they brought Scully in and all of that. So it gives a nice potted history of it, along with some they're basically putting photos of stuff on a pyre and burning them from the X-Files, so you get pictures of tombs and stuff like that. So it's really nice. And then there's obviously the conversation about the potential that aliens are there and it's all been covered up, stuff like that. And then it kicks in with the classic opening credits, and it's exactly the same.
Awesome.
They've kept the opening credits perfectly from how it used to be.
And it's still Mark Snowden in the score.
Still Mark Snowden in the score. So it is just like, it's a nice fuzzy warm feeling.
Aww. I'll go home and watch that later on.
It's nice. It's introducing a bunch of new characters. It's kind of trying to spin a lot of stuff on its head that we thought we knew at the end, that when it finished.
Right.
Where
does it take the movies? Does it count the movies as canon?
It's not. Well, it doesn't make reference to them, other than where the characters are in the movies, because obviously you see slightly more of kind of Scully and Mulder's relationship years after, when you see the films, and it's a natural progression of how they were when we left them.
Right.
So yeah. But it's good. I have a couple of minor quibbles with it. That's, that Skinner's still only an assistant director after all these years. I'd like to think the poor guy would have got a promotion by now.
Yeah, but he supported the X-Files, so it's would have been kept down for a reason.
So, but it's good to have Skinner back. Everyone is back and looking good. So, yeah, very, very happy it's back.
Wicked.
Interested to see where it's going to go.
I'll get onto that. I finished, now that I've got time, I've just finished watching the first 2 episodes of Lucifer on Amazon Prime.
Oh, I so don't know whether I want to watch this or not.
From my experience of the new print of Lucifer comic, there doesn't seem to be very much in the way of relation to the TV show.
Well, if I understand it correctly, they've essentially just turned it into a procedural cop show.
Yes,
where Lucifer is helping.
That's exactly what they've done.
which I don't know if I can bring myself to watch it.
I wasn't sure either, and I watched the first episode and then straight away watched the second episode. For all of its sins in terms of its treatment of the comic, it's horribly watchable. It's actually quite a watchable show.
Okay.
But the premise is exactly that. Lucifer has left hell because he was bored of being part of God's game. Bored of playing his role of being the person he punishes.
Does it make reference to Sandman?
No, not reference that I've seen. There's a coin, maybe the spinning coin is a Sandman reference. Not that I spotted.
Okay, fair enough.
Not that I spotted, but I think if you'd be the person to spot those references if they were there.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so he's basically left hell because he was bored of being part of God's plan. Didn't want to play his role of being Punisher, and he is in his club. So he has Lux, and he is literally introducing himself as Lucifer Morningstar, and people think it's a stage name. It's a running joke about his name. It's like, no, it's God given. You know, he's not hiding who he is at all. He's
just
quite,
nobody believes him.
He's quite open about being the devil, but just no one believes him.
It's kind of like the Grosse Point Blank effect.
Yeah. Hitman. And yeah, a person who he was fond of is murdered, and he takes it upon himself to get involved in the investigation so that he can punish the person responsible. And it's all about that. And he's working with a cop who is... she's now a detective. She was a former actress who did a nude scene in a film called Hot Tub High School in the film world. And it's about her struggles to be taken seriously as a woman in a man's world, but also with this history of...
Okay.
Yeah, I think the reference the references to Phoebe Cates in Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Right, yeah.
That she was the new version of Phoebe Cates. And yeah, just the obscure relationship. And of course, Lucifer can get everyone's deepest, darkest desires out of them.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from her, she is immune to his...
Strangely immune.
Yeah, strangely immune to his charms. She's a plot MacGuffin for Lucifer.
Smell a plot device.
Yeah. And it's basically that. It pushes the edges a little bit. It's a little bit more risque than you'd expect Fox to go with at this point.
I have my usual concerns that it's on Fox
and
will get cancelled after half a season.
It's a genre show on Fox. It's got 9 episodes left and it's done. Because not even Amazon could have the power to save it from Fox.
Well, they didn't. Yeah, indeed.
They didn't save Constantine.
Well, that was Fox, but yeah. Almost Human was their latest casualty.
Yeah, but that was shit.
Yeah.
I mean, that was shit. Almost Human was terrible. The fact that they changed so drastically from the pilot episode to episode 2.
I think Minority Report's days are numbered already as well. That's Fox.
I hate that as well.
I don't think it's actually been cancelled yet, but I think it's only had a half-season order.
Oh, man.
Good old Fox.
Sci-fi and Fox just do not go together. Well, the thing with this, it's quite watchable for all of its proceduralness.
Okay. I mean, does he have powers other than just being able to kind of tell people's?
He's immortal, which he tells people.
Okay.
He's just don't worry about me, I'm immortal, and he gets shot, and just how did you do that?
Is he invulnerable or immortal?
Immortal.
Right. Okay.
So he gets shot, and then the cop is then checking him secretly for bulletproof vests and stuff, and he's oh, why are you investigating? I've told you how I survived it. Everything about him is very straight up.
Right. Okay.
He's just yes, no, I'm immortal. No, I'm the devil. When characters say, "Oh, you're the devil," just yes, I am. I mean, Tom, the guy playing Lucifer is actually pretty charming. He seems good for the role. English accent and all.
Of course, Lucifer has to be English.
Of course. It's just American bias against the English. But, yeah. I would wait to see your verdict on it, but okay. I quite enjoyed the first episodes.
Alright, I'll give it a try then.
Yeah.
I'll give it a try.
Cool.
And I'll have my Sandman reference spotting hat on.
Do it. I mean, they're probably quite blatant.
I wouldn't have thought they would be, actually, because they wouldn't be able to get away with blatant references to Sandman.
I mean, Lucifer's got Maze with him. Is she a reference to Sandman?
No.
And he does this little trick. He has a spinning coin that has the pentagram on one side and goes on the other. It's constantly spinning.
Yeah.
Those are the only two things that strike me as being Easter egg worthy.
Okay. I will check it out.
Cool.
And we will see.
You can come back next week and just go like, God, you were so wrong. That's a shit show. Yeah.
You think I'd wait until the next show to tell you that if it was?
Just post it on my wall.
Just watch for Twitter.
Yeah. Cool. So brings us to the last thing.
Yes, indeed. Which was, it kind of oddly ties in with a nerd adjudication that we had sent in just before Christmas that we haven't had time to do yet, which is around Doctor Who.
Yeah. So, the nerd adjudication is a question we've had before, which we've answered before, but who we would like to see play the Doctor if Capaldi should leave the show.
Yeah.
We were saving the question up for some Doctor Who news, and then, as luck would have it, Stephen Moffat decides he's going to quit.
Yep.
So Stephen Moffat has stepped down as showrunner. There'll be no series of Doctor Who this year, which is
Gutting.
very, very sad news for me.
It is for me. I'm actually gutted.
Yeah, I'm so disappointed. So we have to wait till Christmas now for a Christmas episode, and then Moffat's last season will be in 2017. The timing of the question is pertinent because it looks like Capaldi might be rumoured to be leaving with Moffat.
Yeah.
Which would be a shame, because I think after a couple of seasons of not knowing quite how to write this Doctor, I think Moffat and Capaldi gelled last season.
I think they very, very much found their beat this season.
I mean, the season that's just finished is probably the best season we've had for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that it looks like we're only going to get one more season of that writing. And that writing will undoubtedly be tempered by the fact they have to set up for a new showrunner and potentially a new Doctor. And potentially a new companion as well. We might just have a one-season companion.
Yeah, we'll have to see, because it depends whether they're going to introduce a new companion in the Christmas one or whether they're going to just wait until they start the new season.
Well, there is a rumour that Maisie Williams will be back.
Potentially, but I don't know, because they would have to resolve that whole, the two of them flouting off in the TARDIS with a moment's breath, etc. They would have to give some real solid ending to that, otherwise I'd be very, very unhappy.
We shouldn't revisit that, I don't think.
No.
That should just be done. But what are your thoughts on the new showrunner?
Well, it's the guy who created Broadchurch, isn't it? Interesting. I don't really know. I mean, I'm wondering whether, it's the David Tennant connection that's got him interested in it.
Well, he's a fan. He's meant to be a fan as well, so that's good. Although Stephen Moffat being a fan didn't really pay dividends for quite a number of seasons.
No, and Peter Capaldi being a fan.
Yeah. So I don't think it necessarily needs to be a prerequisite. We just need to have someone who has an idea on how to write cohesive stories that can span, like, a 13-episode arc. And not necessarily be interconnected directly, but subtly. That's why I liked Russell T Davies.
He definitely had a sense of how it all held together.
Yeah.
And it didn't rely on blatant plot hooks other than things like Bad Wolf, which got a bit irritating.
Yeah, but I liked how when he was showrunner and running it, you knew that whatever creature or baddie or plot was part of the 7th episode of the season would be returning for the last one, and that'd be the big bad. And then you'd have to work out how that fit in the intermeaning episodes. everyone is having an opinion of it. Everyone is like writing articles about this. It's all over the Nerd. This is all over every site, and I'm just of a fuck it kind of mindset.
Yeah.
The showrunner for Doctor Who really doesn't matter that much to me.
No.
I'm not sure why people are getting so bent out of shape over it, or why it's suddenly big news. It's just like someone who once wrote a show for 3 years isn't writing the show anymore.
Yeah.
Get the fuck over it. New ideas are always needed, and if it keeps the show fresh and keeps new ideas coming in, then come along. Get with it. The new Doctor question, that is different.
It opens up that whole can of worms again.
Oh, yeah. Are we going to get a female Doctor?
I've seen rumours flying around about Catherine Tate, which I really don't think is going to happen.
What's the Dr. Donna?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I can't see that working at all.
No, I don't know. I don't want to see a female Doctor. I don't think. And like, this is where I have to try and explain why, in a sense that isn't, in a way, it's not going to offend anybody. Anyone who listens to the show or who knows what I teach and what I do knows that I'm a feminist, and I believe strongly in equality. I think that making a character who is, whether there's stuff now in the canon with the changing of the gender or not, but the Doctor has been an established male character for 50 plus years. Making the next incarnation of the Doctor female just for equality isn't really equality, it's tokenism.
Yeah, indeed.
And it would be much better in terms of equality if they created a brand new female character who was as important to Whovian lore as the Doctor.
And an equal to the Doctor. Yeah.
That would be a better approach for my money. I mean, what do you think?
No, I think you're totally right. I don't think I particularly want to see a female Doctor at this point, because I think it will feel like they're only doing it because people have said they should.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I'm not necessarily saying that's a bad idea to do it, but I just don't feel it would be right unless it has a very, very good explanation in the plot as to why it's occurring, because they made the whole thing of why he became Capaldi. It was the whole, he was trying to tell himself something.
Yeah.
So if there's good reason behind it and they tie it in with something like that, then fair enough. I'll buy into that. But I don't feel like they should do it just because everyone's telling them they should.
Yeah, no. I don't want to see it happen as a knee-jerk response to social media pressure.
Yeah.
If it's going to happen, it has to be done well. I mean, we don't need to have the canon argument now. It's established in canon that can happen.
It's there.
That's
it's been
fine. Done. If it's done well in the story, and it is, as you say, there's clear narrative purpose for it, because the external sort of out of character, if you will, social pressure of it shouldn't be what dictates what happens within the narrative.
It should drive the story.
Yeah.
And that's the point.
Yeah. That's what I would be looking for if it were to happen. But I still don't think that it's true equality. If it does, I still feel at this time it does smack a little of tokenism.
Yeah. And I fear there will be, if it does happen that way, there will be a lot of cheap gags in the script about it, and I will cringe at things like that.
Yeah, it's not going to be anything that stops you from watching it if it happens, and it's just like, cool, it's happened.
Yeah.
It's a progressive show, it's sci-fi, so eventually it should happen. And if it happens this time around, great. As long as it happens within a coherent reason within the show.
Yeah.
rather than external to the show. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna bat and ball it and go, fuck this shit.
No.
It's.
But I think, in terms of who should be the next Doctor, I will always stick with my token response on it, which is Patterson Joseph. I think he'd be awesome. Because he essentially played the Doctor as the Marquis de Carabas.
Yeah.
And to give him that role properly, I think he would be absolutely stunning as it.
Yeah.
So that is my response to that question every time someone asks me.
And Idris Elba always gets brought up time and time again. He'd be a little bit too dark, I think. Too brooding, too sinister for the Doctor. I think we need to step away from that because Capaldi has been the intense Doctor.
The eyebrows Doctor.
Yeah. Your man who played the operative in Serenity.
Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very good.
He'd be a great Doctor.
Yeah. I'd like to see someone, again, slightly different. Someone like maybe Cillian Murphy.
Oh, if they could get him away from Peaky Blinders.
Yeah. I think he'd be great.
Do we go young with this Doctor, do you reckon? Or do we go old?
I would say potentially middle somewhere.
Yeah.
Late 30s, long greying hair. Just saying.
Are you free for the role, are you?
I'm open.
Okay, and if we were to cast a woman as the Doctor?
I still think Sue Perkins would be awesome. I really like Sue Perkins.
Everybody likes Sue Perkins.
She's brilliant. Who else would I like to see? I don't know, maybe someone like Tilda Swinton.
Ooh, she'd be great.
I think she'd be fantastic.
Yeah, she'd be great as the Doctor. Tilda Swinton. That's a good shout.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome. Or even if not as the Doctor, then bring her in as an equal level character. I think she's fantastic and can do no wrong in my opinion. Again, for the third show in a row, I'll mention Snowpiercer because she's in it as one of the baddies in that, and she's fantastic in it.
Of course, if we do get a female Doctor, then we change the dynamic of the Doctor companion as well, don't we? Because the companion probably shifts to be a man.
Would it?
It might do.
It doesn't necessarily have to.
No, well, yeah, nothing has to, but like the way BBC would approach these things, like didn't know what to do with Clara for a season, so make her a love interest for someone, bring them in.
Well, yes.
So
that was ill conceived.
Yeah. So what has to happen, and what often happens, are often two separate things when writing this show, and I think if they'd made the decision to make it a female Doctor, they would probably think again that it would be equality to make a male companion. I don't think so.
So, any others that you can think of?
I can't think of any female actress that I'd cast as the Doctor. But maybe Emma Newman. She'd be a great Doctor.
I think she probably would.
Yeah.
To ask her, Sci-Fi Weekend.
Yeah. Do you want to be the Doctor?
I think the answer would be a resounding hell yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Johnny Lee Miller.
Interesting. I doubt you'll prize him away from Elementary, though.
But he'd be a good Doctor.
I think he would, yeah. But I think he's essentially playing a very similar character in Sherlock anyway. Yeah. I don't imagine his Doctor to be that much different to his Sherlock.
True. So yeah, those would be my picks. Emma Newman or Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Cool.
Sweet.
Okay.
I hope that answers the nerd adjudication.
I think so.
Yeah.
So cheers, Ben.
Oh, before you go, I saw Star Wars again for like the third time.
And you blew my Chewie theory out the water,
I'm sorry I did. And also, the other scene that you didn't like, I was watching that more closely this time. He doesn't stop to see Leia because he's escorting Finn on the stretcher. And I think he knows what Finn did and why Finn was injured, and that maybe Finn has now picked up his life debt.
All right, okay.
Because of the attempt to avenge Han.
Mm.
So it's not like he ignores her. He's actively pushing the stretcher.
I'll have to have a look again because it looks like when it cuts to them that he's just kind of milling around in the crowd.
I think that's just a bad cut.
Right, okay.
Because you see him walking past, and then next scene you have them hugging, and in the background, yeah, he seems to be milling, but I think that's just like maybe a bad cut on the film. And yeah, R2 gets the last word.
But in all fairness, I think in one of the original trilogies, I think R2 gets the last word as well.
Right.
So I will expand it more to the fact that it's always a non-human and it's non-verbal dialogue.
True.
At the end.
I was also looking closely for more of this potential Rey as a Kenobi.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so.
How so?
I think it's as obvious as we think it is. I think she's a Skywalker. And the reason I think that is because of her connection to the lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
And when she has the flashbacks, when she touches it, it's flashing back and flashing forward. And everything is connected to that lightsaber and the Skywalker line, including the flashback of herself being dropped off on Jakku as an infant.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she's been in contact with that saber before.
All right, okay.
And I think the Skywalker connection is just too big. Plus, thinking about it logically, if Obi-Wan Kenobi had had a kid, that had Rey, we would have come across them at some point in the canon. Because the generational gap between Obi-Wan and Luke was grandfather, grandson, in terms of age gap, right?
Mm.
And that's the same gap between Luke and Rey at this point. So there's 4 or 5 generations of Kenobi that have somehow been hidden in the galaxy between episode 4 and episode 7.
No,
I don't buy it.
See, I would have thought that Kenobi would have had a kid and then that kid would have had Rey.
No.
Because it's only 30 years.
But Kenobi, at the point he was in episode 4, having a kid?
No, he'd have had it in the interim.
Yeah, he'd have had a kid. And... Right, I need to fucking map this out and actually draw this out. But basically, if Kenobi had a kid, like, before A New Hope, let's say he had a kid that was the same age as Luke Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
So he had his kid, like, 19 BBY. So that kid would still be pushing 50 by episode 7.
Yeah. Which makes it about right to
Okay,
have...
so you reckon there's only one generation missing? I think there's more. I don't think she's a Kenobi. I'm loving the fan theories of why she is.
Oh yeah,
I think
they do make sense.
I think they're great, but okay, generational issues aside, maybe that's a flaw in my argument. But the connection to the lightsaber.
Yeah, I think that's right, and
I think
the
is
explanation
too strong.
for hearing Kenobi's voice is potentially just as much that he has always been the kind of mentor figure for the Skywalkers.
Yeah.
Because he is.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that was that. But there's a scene in that flashback that we haven't seen yet. More or less every place it goes to in the flashback we've seen. So we've seen Jakku.
Mm-hmm.
We see more about the Knights of Ren. We've seen sort of the flash forwards and stuff. There is what looks like some sort of industrial facility that she's running through before it all crumbles into Kylo Ren killing the New Jedi Order, which we haven't seen yet in the movie. So
Okay.
I'm not sure we'll see that in episode 8 or not.
Well, the bit of good news is that Captain Phasma is definitely coming back.
Well, of course she was. And this is the thing that's infuriating me slightly with the Star Wars coverage from respected sites like the Nerdist. Is like, potential spoilers. Guess who's casting this? It's like, how is that a spoiler? How is that a spoiler?
It's not.
Captain Phasma is going to be in it. Well, of course she is. Why? I mean,
I'm just happy we've got confirmation. It's not a spoiler. It's something we wanted.
It just seems like putting potential spoilers or spoilers beware in like the blurb for any link is just becoming clickbaity.
Yeah.
Because people want to spoil it. It's like, that's not a spoiler. It's not even close.
Yeah.
There needs to be some real fucking discussion on what constitutes a spoiler. Like nowadays, it's like, this film's going to star this person. Well, yeah, of course it is. It's not a spoiler.
Yeah. Did you read David's article about spoilers? That
No,
on the site?
I did, but I can't remember it.
It's interesting. It's about using pseudonyms to hide hide characters' real identities, and the fact that it just detracts from the plot and serves no real obvious purpose.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
Was that the whole Khan?
Khan, yeah. And Blofeld.
Oh, yeah. And it's like, but it's just so obvious.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Cool.
Yeah, that's it. Mini rant. Right there, mini rant. I'm just going to write a blog about it. Yeah, I'll write something.
About what constitutes
The
spoilers.
spoilers,
Yeah, do it, sir. Do it. Dust off your soapbox. You know you want it.
Yeah, oh god, so do. So badly. It's just, yeah, cool. It's annoying as fuck, but we'll just get past it, Brent. Come on, read past it.
Cool.
Right.
So I think that's about us. I think for this week.
Yeah, probably best to end it there, I think.
I guess just to say as well that we're in the run up to Sci-Fi Weekender soon,
Yeah.
so hope to see a lot of you there. We're definitely confirmed as being involved in stuff. Not quite sure what yet,
We'll be there.
but we will be there.
Awesome. And look forward to seeing you there if you're there as well.
Absolutely.
I imagine we'll be doing the quiz on the Thursday night.
Yeah.
You know, defending Thursday night quiz champions. Team NerdVsWorld. Cool. If you see us, come and say hi. But that's all for this episode. And until next... Oh. God. How do I sign off? I've forgotten. That's all for this episode. I've been Brendan.
I've been Spindles.
And until next time, take care and be excellent to each other. And stay in school, kids.
Stay in school, kids. Nice.